Hey, so this is basically going to be a short video outlining how to perform the bench press, the flat bench press with a barbell. So literally, in effect, what this movement does is you basically start with the weight, you lower it down to your chest, and you press off. So it does seem pretty easy when you look at it that way, but it's quite a technical lift to be done correctly as well. Any old Tom, Dick and Harry can push, but if you got to do it in the right manner, else long term you can develop injuries. So it works three main muscle groups. The bench press works the chest, shoulders, the anterior deltoid of the shoulders, and also the triceps. And works one head more than the other as well. So basically, the main thing for a bench press is when you set up. So you want to set up correctly, and you don't want to set up in an incorrect fashion. So what you want to first do is, when you set up, you want to sit yourself down, and there's a few pointers you want to have for sure your setup is good. So first and foremost, I like to sit down. I like to bring my feet slightly back, and then I lower myself onto the bench. Then what I do is I pick myself up using the bar, and what I do is I shrug my shoulder blades down and back. Okay, so I lift my shoulders up, bring them back, and sit them down. Okay, so if you look from a side angle, so my shoulders, you round it up forward. So what you want to do is you want to bring your shoulders down and back, and then also what you want to do is you want to thrust your chest up and like that. So not hunched over, you're going to remain upright, chest up, shoulders up, down and back. You want to stay in that position. Now you want to have, it's very important, at the back you have to keep your back tight. Imagine you're holding a pencil in between the back. So imagine someone put a pencil in the middle of your back, you have to hold it there, you'd squeeze your back on you. You want to keep that position the same. So when you actually extend, just move that. So when you actually extend and you're doing the exercise, it's like, say that's your range of motion there. So when you're bench pressing away, and your shoulders, this part of your shoulder, it's going to be remain locked back. It's not going to pop forward. Yeah, I'm not moving my arm there, it's just my shoulder moving the arm. You see that slight traction with the shoulder? So when you're performing the exercise, you want to keep that down and back. Okay? And even as you perform the rep, it needs to stay like that, not like this. Yeah, you want to keep it back. Imagine you're holding a pencil between your back. That's the most important thing, I think, for the bench press. As long as you do that properly, it's going to retract your shoulder blades back, and it's going to actually prevent a lot of the shoulder pain that you get from benching a lot. So you can bench like this 3-4 times a week, and as long as you fall in proper form and having adequate rest and food, your shoulders should stay in relatively good health. So yeah, you sit up, you puff your chest up, you bring your feet back. Puffing your chest up and keeping your bum on the bench makes a nice little arch on the bottom, enough to fit your hand underneath. You pin your shoulder blades back, and you reach up and you grasp the bar. Okay. At the same time, your legs should be drawn back such that they're at 90 degrees with the bench on your legs. So legs and then feet down there. So that's 90 degrees or more. So yeah, you're coming back and you're coming onto tiptoes. That's fine, but just make sure you got a firm plant on the ground. Then once you lift the bar off, it's very important not to let your shoulders roll round forward. Like as I said, you don't want the shoulders to pop forward. So when you're unracking the weight as well, it's very important that your spotter helps you rack the weight, just so you keep it tight back there and you don't let your shoulders roll forward. Very important. So once you've unracked the weight, you then want to begin by slowly bending the bar, thinking you're bending the bar. So you bring it down towards your chest, and you bend the bar downwards, and then when you're on the bottom, you bring it all the way down to your chest. Pause on the bottom. Now pause reps are really good for building strength compared to a normal touch and go variety where you just touch the base and go back up. Try not to bounce even if you're going to do touch and go, but pause reps are really good. You count to 3 in your head or count to 2, however many seconds you want to pause, and then push off. It's good to develop, it's good for beginners because it develops a good base off the chest. And as you're doing this motion as well, when you go to the top, you can lock out if you wish, but if you have a bit of elbow and joint pain there, you can just stop just a little bit, a few centimeters off lockout, and bring it back down. In effect, when you're actually benching, one other thing for your shoulder health and integrity is the position of your arms. So if your arms are flared out as compared to tucked in, so say you set up for the bench, you bring your shoulders back and back, you puff your chest out, okay, and then what you want to do is you want to flare your elbows out. And if you bench like that, that's going to work maximally your chest, but it brings a lot of shoulder recruitment in. So what you do is you adopt a stance where your elbows are tucked in. So elbows go from there to coming down here. Yeah. So now the angle between here, that was 90 degrees, and that's a major shoulder involvement. And you bring it down. Now that reduces the amount of shoulders, puts more load on the triceps. So yeah, that's basically the angle at which you want to keep it. So it's like a 45-degree angle that you want the angle to be between. Don't want your shoulders to be flared. Shoulder blades are retracted. Bum remains on the bench for the entire part of the lift, and you push down on the feet. Squeeze your glutes as well. You get a good leg drive in the bench press. And when you're bringing the weight down, get your spotter to first unrack it for you so your shoulders remain tight and your back remains tight. And slowly lower the bar, pretending as if to bend the bar. Bring it down towards your chest. Pause at the bottom and then explode up. The tempo for the rep, which is you slowly lower it down a few seconds. Pause on the bottom of the chest for about 2 seconds and then push it up as fast as you can. But remember, when you push up, you don't want your shoulders to round forward. You don't want to lose the tightness in your back. You want to keep it back nice and tight and squeezed. And that's more or less it. What you can do is when you eventually progress with the lift and you start developing certain weaknesses, you can identify what portion of the lift is in a deficit. For example, if you're weak off the chest, that first few centimeters is the lats. A lot of it's kind of almost, if you pause at the bottom and you don't spring it off, you'll see that it's a lot of lat involvement there, and your lats do push the bar off the first few centimeters. Then the vast majority after that is the chest, and then once your arms hit about, I'd say about almost parallel with your chest, go lock out, that's your tricep. So you see a lot of people benching and they don't bring the bar down to their chest. That does do have some chest recruitment, however it's a lot of load is placed on the triceps. The bottom portion of where your arm bends past 90 degrees, that is when you will actually get the vast majority of pec involvement, and in the very first few centimeters you get the lats. So say if you get stuck at the base and the bottom, work on your lats, work on more on your chest, bench more, so bench more often, and also incorporate a lot of pause benching, and that'll make you strong off the bottom of the chest. Instead of doing 1 second or 2 second pauses, do 4 or 5 second pauses. Similarly, when you're doing with your triceps, if you get up to halfway and you can't press out, then it gives you a strong indicator that you now need to work more on triceps. So doing dips, dumbbell overhead extensions, tricep push down, skull crushers, add the more volume of these. So do more sets, try and do heavier weight on these exercises, and that should hopefully bring your bench press up, pass through that sticking point, and focus for speed and explosiveness off the base of your chest when you go. So push hard as you can, but when you're lowering it, calm it down, nice and slow, good fair few seconds in lowering the bar. That's more or less most of it. So just another rough summary of everything. Sit down on the bench, lie down, puff your chest up and set up your shoulder blades so you bring them up, down and back, and then pull. Now your shoulder blades are now tucked there and back. Your bum's on the bench, you're bringing your feet back, so you're either on tiptoes behind or your feet are flat on the ground. You got a good stable, no shaking of the legs. Your back's got a nice arch, you can fit your hand through it. You tuck your arms, and you first, when you helps you unrack, you don't pull your shoulder blades out, so you get your spotter to help you unrack the bar. You bring it out down to about the middle of your chest. Forgot to mention where you bring it down to your chest. It should be on the base of your sternum, or if you don't know where your sternum is, the bottom of your nipple line, around about that area. So doing that, and then you bring it down, your elbows are tucked at a 45-degree angle, then push, and that's it more or less. That's basically my bench press tutorial. It covers most things. Another important thing to remember is the grip. if you go for a very wide grip, it incorporates a lot more of your chest. If you go for a more narrow grip, it incorporates more of your triceps. So you can do, there's three main variations. There's a close grip bench press for mainly triceps. There's a wide grip, which is very good for chest, however it can be a bit detrimental to your shoulders, so be careful when doing that. And also you can do use medium grip benches, which what I normally do, and that incorporates a fair bit of triceps as well as chest. And as long as you follow all the safety points and you tuck your arms in, you shrug your shoulders back, keep a nice steady arch in your back, not too much, not too little, keep your glutes squeezed throughout the day, and also press firmly down with the feet so you get a good leg drive, and you should be able to have a very good base and foundation to lift off. I'd recommend benching, depends what sort of split. If you're doing a full body, you could be doing it up to 3 times per week. If you're doing a normal body part split, then you could do it once a week. When I used to do bodybuilding split, so you're doing stuff like chest and triceps or chest and biceps on the same day, then you can probably do it most twice a week. Should be more than enough, but doing it once a week is fine. Rep ranges, as always, 6 to 8 is a nice number to start with for if you're just starting out. If you want to go more for hypertrophy, 10 to 12, and if you're going more for strength, 3 to 5, down to even 2 to 3 is really good. Yeah, I think that's more or less everything, unless I've missed anything off. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. And always remember, I think the single most important point taken away from this video is that you shrug your shoulders down and back. A lot of people don't do this, and it won't cause injury straight away, but it can develop over time, and it will eventually lead to something going, possibly your rotator cuff. So what I advise you to do alongside your benching is every day you bench, when you're doing, either if you're doing a full body on the same day, or if you're doing a body part split on the day you're doing shoulders or back, to do an exercise called face pulls. You can search that up, figure out how to do that, and that's the really good exercise to keep your rear deltoid and your rotator cuff muscles healthy. Because a lot of pressing does, it works the anterior part of the shoulder, but the rear part of the shoulder never gets worked. These muscles kind of become tense and are less dominant as such, so you do end up developing a rounded forward posture, and the muscles on the back are very weak. So doing face pulls and doing nice control exercises for your back will help develop good strength there for those muscles to control the scapula and stop any shoulder impingement or any shoulder pain coming. It's kind of like the muscle at the back holding the scapula in place, and the muscle at the front's bringing it forward. So if you work them too much, and you don't work these at all, so you don't even do bent over flies or face pulls, then it ends up pulling it forward, and then when you're benching, your humerus is scraping against the scapula, and you get shoulder pain. So what you want to do is you want to strengthen the muscles at the back with stretches as well as normal exercises, and that'll bring the scapula back down into its place, and you can continue benching. So I recommend always warming up with rotator cuff exercises, and then finishing off your workout with some face pulls or some bent over flies, which are really good for the rear delt. And yeah, that's more or less it. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, if you're getting weak on the bench and you want to get stronger, work out your shoulders and triceps more, as that always helps. And depending on what your sticking point is in the bench, you can incorporate pause reps or more tricep work, or even boards. You can use board presses and floor presses, but that's really more for advanced people and not the likes of us. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm just your fat, friendly, bearded man checking out. Bye. Don't forget to like and sub and comment.